Hello, hello. Welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate and Stuff, the podcast where Papa P is always getting ready right as the music stops, like he hasn't been sitting there for 5 minutes. Uh, also, where we dive deep into the world of real estate investing and explore random stuff that makes life interesting. I'm John Whitfield from Investor Fuse and Carrot. Joined by my co-host Carlos from Investor Fuse and Carrot, and Papa P, aka Brandon, or the other way around, from Ted Sysops. How's it going, gents? How's the week?
Papa P, kick us off, man.
Locking and loading, man. Locking and loading. I don't even know what's going on with my life right now. Shit is up and crazy. Um, I sent a few offers in on parks. Definitely trying to purchase more. That's kind of the angle going on. We were having a talk here. We were just talking like, yeah, we got a lot of work, but the thing is like, no matter what, you still got to be making offers. Cause like, so I got rejected. There was a package deal, got rejected on. Followed up with a realtor, got rejected on. And then one of the ones that I was offering on almost a year ago is back on the market. Called that guy, and it's just the moral of the story is you never know when it's going to hit. But if you stop looking, right, you're never there where the opportunity is because you always have to be moving forward. So like we were talking about here luck yesterday, like having luck, but we all know the definition of luck, right? It's having that persistence and the patience, right, to be at the right place at the right time. And you're never going to get there if you're not continuing to be persistent with your actions. And that's the thing is it's like, man, sometimes it sucks having people just laugh at you when you're offering seller finance because, you know, they're like, oh yeah, you and about 100 other people. And it's like, yeah, but you're gonna get that one person that says yes to it, and it's just so I'm still offering. Got rejected on a package that I was really hoping I was gonna get, but did not get that one.
I think it's funny because you could take what you just said, and I think somebody who's like a sweepstaker or like a Facebook Marketplace, like hoarder slash collector, could say the same thing. But I think it's funny that you're talking about like parks. You always got to be looking.
You do.
It's
You
true
don't
though.
know.
No,
Yeah,
I know.
it's like a yard sale person. I see what you're
Hmm.
saying. Like if you're not out in the hunt, you
Yeah,
don't know. Like you may have to get to that 50th yard sale or storage unit that you're going to price out, right? Like storage war. You don't know what one's going to be the big score. But if you don't move forward because you're busy, because we're buying these other parks or we have a lot of work with these ones, and then when you're done with it, then you start. You're still the same distance out. It's just
yeah,
now further. It's going to take you longer,
yeah.
not in distance, but in time. And it's
Hmm.
like, so
It's the same thing with delayed gratification and lead time, lag time. Like the offers and quality conversations you're having today, like you might not see benefit from that for like a year. And the
yeah,
conversations you're having now, or maybe from like 6 months ago, So
hundred
that's good.
percent.
I thought the definition of luck you were going to say is when opportunity meets preparedness. Is that one of them?
Okay. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's
yeah,
one of
yeah.
them, which kind of goes hand in hand with that. But
Preparedness. I was going with persistence and patience
persistence,
is in time. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. But yeah, good week. Interesting conversations with HVAC folks. I appreciate the people that I've been reaching out to that have been sending some referrals. That industry is just so primed to optimize their sites and just overall brand. It's such an interesting avatar, for lack of a better term, to just be talking to the HVAC folk versus
Yes.
World is only getting hotter.
yeah, yeah.
Man,
So it's been
I'm
good. Papa P, I appreciate. Right after the show Friday, gave me a connect for a good Little Rock guy. I don't know if anything happened with that deal that my friend hit me up on, the PPC provider, but I appreciate Papa P connecting me with a big real estate guy in Little Rock right after last week's episode. And then next week's episode, just to say this, we have launch control on, which is going to be interesting. A lot of people that are big on outbound are going to want to check that one out just to hear what's going on with the world of text, things that you can do. He had a really good interview. Michael had a really good interview on real estate disruptors maybe like 6 months ago. The
yeah.
overarching theme, if you haven't seen that, is like best practices for texting. Also goes hand in hand with like websites, carrot sites, things like that, is focusing on all the other marketing channels, leaning towards getting inbound leads to come to you. Instead of just like when Papa P has talked about on the show and John and I know when like Lead Tripper launched in like 2017, 2018, you could just like text like crazy and people were getting, a deal out of every 10, 15 texts probably, if not less maybe. and that has drastically changed. So definitely hop on next week if you guys are interested in text marketing and just want to learn about like best practices, procedures.
I'm very interested in that. I know there's a lot. Listen. You got to do what you got to do, right? Like, you have this software, you got to do it. Well, I guess I'll say what I have to say when they're on the air. What do? You go down with the ship, or you try to keep the ship afloat. I get it, but no matter what you say, cold texting is still bullshit. It's never you can still get money from it, but it's still a dangerous game that you're playing with a lot of effort. I just think there's better ways to generate revenue. Now, you have something like that and ties into your existing leads where it's not cold texting, warm consented texting. People have consented in. That's a little bit different. I had sent John. I know we're not at the phase. I sent a video. I found this interesting. You're talking about HVACs. I watched this video today where I found very interesting about an HVAC company. And John, do you want to go and pull that up and share your screen real quick?
Yes, I got them all pulled up. So let's do this. I think it's this one you're talking about. Is this the when I'm 30 guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Play this one.
Carlos, you gotta
It
turn
just
my
goes to
screen
your
on. Carlos is
HVAC
the host
comment.
today because I have to leave early.
1 second, please.
And I hope the audio comes through, right? Maybe, I don't know.
It's just
turn
interesting
the toggle
because
on the left-hand
I
side.
think
there,
there's a
Carlos.
lot of money in HVAC in the trades, and he goes and speaks to that about like this company, and I'll let him speak when you guys are able to figure out the technology of opening up a video.
Am I maximizing you or doing something different?
Yeah, you maximize me. On the left-hand side, you should see the three of us, and then you should see my screen. You just got to hit a toggle on my screen to turn on my screen.
Not seeing that.
Just I'll see everybody in the stream is just seeing John right now. Hey guys, how's it going?
I can put you in and out of the room, I think, but yeah, it's not the.
You don't see the screen?
Mm-mm.
Maybe this is the. All right, let's remove. Let's share again. Maybe we'll get there, everybody.
There we go.
Okay. All right. Let's see if the audio
Yeah.
comes through. Let me give this a quick refresh. You guys hear anything?
No, it's on mute on Instagram though.
Can you hear it?
No. I guess we can't share it. No? There's no way to share audio?
It's to share audio, share a tab instead. All right, guys, I got this. We'll get there. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with us. All right, here we go. There's that. And then I'm going to share a tab now. How millionaires get started and share the audio. All right.
With. Guys, I've already been through this one time. When
Yeah?
I was 30 years old, I lost everything.
Yeah.
I had $8,500 to start over with. Let me show you what this kid just did. I call him a kid. He's 31 years old now, but when he started over, he was 29 years old, same as I was. Let me show you what he's doing now with his money. A little bit of history. We actually built this house for my wife's father, and now his air conditioner went out. We actually built the home with the money we saved in gas from our Tesla. Okay, this kid was 29 years old. Now he's 31. He actually went and took his money he had left whenever he had to start back over, and he started on heat and air company. One thing you got to think about, it's not easy to start a company on your own. But this guy can do things half the price that other companies can, because other companies aren't doing nothing but hiring people like you.
Low overhead.
$40 an hour to do the same stuff. But he come out here and do this 2 or 3 hours, make a whole week's pay. Right now what he's doing is a school of hard knocks. He's learning what it takes to get the job done. So when he starts paying guys, he knows exactly what to expect from them. Like right now, he's only 2 years in, he's already grossing $500,000 a year, making 30 to 40% profit. He's not reinvesting that into rental properties right now. He's reinvesting
He's
that into
netting
his
like
That's
almost
what
a
we're
quarter
talking about,
mil a year
reinvesting
pretty
to
much.
yourself. Don't get me wrong now, he will be investing in the rental soon. It won't take him long to get there at the rate he's going. One thing you have to do, you're going to have to get out here and work. Sometimes you work out your clothes a little bit and have to get out here and sweat. If you're from the coast area, you really need to look him up because he saved me a fortune. He cut this price in half of what the other guy was going to charge.
I mean, it's true. It's like my AC guy, you know. Um, it's like my AC guy is like he's very expensive because of his trucks and his team. Um,
He's got to make
you
that
know,
money. He's got to
yeah.
make that
Whereas
overhead,
if
like you were saying.
he's on his own, it's completely different. This guy's netting. He's pulling and grossing over 500,000, netting like 300 to what 200 to 300 was somewhere in there, 30-40% of that, and it's
By
like
himself. Why would you?
by himself.
So my question is, if that is working so well, why would you even want to scale your business? Because isn't it like diminishing returns? You'll get to a point where you just will never make the same amount of money. I mean, we've been talking about this in wholesaling right now, and like going smaller. And then, but yeah, it's really intriguing. Like, shouldn't he just stay that level now?
You know, and well, you know, I'm a proponent of higher like less volume, higher quality, bigger dollar type stuff. But I think what it comes down to is it's a choice because there's going to be this inflection point where it changes over, right? There's two parts where as you start adding on people, it goes down what you're netting because you're trying to build, but then eventually it goes up because of scale. If you're in the right market and you can scale and you can add on trucks, but with that comes a pretty big load. Like if I was thinking about it, right? And I was like, man, if I had to do it that way, what I would do is I would secure myself. So first, before I started hiring people, I'm making 200K a year. Yeah, I'd be reinvesting into the business, but as a solopreneur, maybe hiring an assistant, getting a little shop if I needed it, but otherwise, no overhead, just all me generating the money. And then what I'm making, yeah, I would try to buy some rental properties, something hands off, or maybe because I'm now an accredited investor because I'm pulling in 250K a year, right? Maybe at that point I'm in some syndications of different assets and I'm networking. And then like after year 3 or 4 of that, and I have some passive cash flow coming in to where as my income goes down of me growing the business, I'm not stressed because one of the biggest stresses as an entrepreneur is you have to pay your employees and your bills before you get paid. And so there may be months you're used to making 200-300K a year. And now there's months where you may not be making that if business is low, marketing expenses are high because maybe you're not keeping all your guys busy, stuff like that. Like I always think that'd be a great way to do it. But there's an argument for staying at that level and just being
I like the
happy.
idea of having the passive to grow and to relieve some of that stress.
That stress.
Stuff. Yeah.
But I don't know,
It makes
Carlos.
a lot
I
of
thought
sense.
of you. I thought of you when you were saying that. I
Appreciate
was
that,
like,
dude.
that's your new avatar. Is
That's
that guy?
that's my game. That's my life right now. HVAC guys.
That's the thing.
is
We
that
got to
a-
find those solopreneurs that need
Yes.
some marketing help.
Yes. If anybody knows HVAC operators, kindly send them my way. I'll give my direct cell, email. Come knock on my door. I'll give you an address. Like Tony Stark in one of the Iron Mans gives the terrorist his address. Says, "Come see me."
I mean,
That was a heck of a marketing thing there too. That was if I heard that correctly, that was a customer just talking about how good his HVAC guy was.
Yeah, so
replacing
he's,
the,
He's like a real estate investor making
Yeah,
weird
yeah,
videos.
yeah.
He needs some help with his editing, but
No, that's just him, bro. He's this old
Is
school
he?
dude. He owns a lot of properties, parks, duplexes, stuff like that. He is just a southern boy who's making videos, but like I love watching him. I mean, he's just straight to the point. There's no fluff with him. And it's just like he tells a story and that's it.
Yeah.
There's no glitz or glam to it. But yeah, I mean, that guy got some good advertising though, that AC guy. I wonder if
sure.
that's why he cut his price down so much as he knew who this guy was. Maybe he follows him on Instagram too. I don't know.
it's funny. Yeah. I have to leave shortly, so I want to get your guys' just opinion on these couple of AI vids that I saw this
Definitely.
week. So let me do this.
Introduce you to Devin, the first AI software engineer. Let me show you an example of Devin in action. I'm going to ask Devin to benchmark the performance of Llama on a couple different API providers. From now on, Devin is in the driver's seat. First, Devin makes a step-by-step plan of how to tackle the problem. After that, it builds the whole project using all the same tools that a human software engineer would use. Devon has its own command line, its own code editor, and even its own browser. In this case, Devon decides to use the browser to pull up API documentation so that it can read up and learn how to plug into each of these APIs.
I'm gonna stop it there because I know it's like super complicated for most people. But let me explain what just happened. So,
Please do.
are you guys still hearing it, or is it just me? Or,
Just you.
No, I mean,
Just you. Should I take the screenshot off?
yeah, I can stop it. So, like, there are AI tools to help developers, and they like integrate into like code writing, so like they can check the code writing as they're doing it without having to go to Google. What this company did, and I went and researched them. Like they like came out of nowhere. They got started by Peter Thiel. They got like, I don't know, $12 million. Nobody knew who they were. And in 2 months are getting ready to release this. And it uses Chat GPT. It's like they didn't make a new model, but they're doing iterative responses. So they're like passing things through. So it's like, here's this thing. Okay. And from that, we know we need to go down this path. And so they built machine learning into AI and using AI as the endpoints.
Yeah.
And it's like
Basically,
absolutely crazy.
in layman's
Crazy.
terms, because John tried to
Yes,
simplify
Papa.
it, but it's,
Papa Pete,
yeah.
break this down for us. In a
yeah,
little
like I love how John's trying to simplify it and then still talking like a fucking project manager coder. So basically, one, it's not released yet. John didn't get to that part of the video, but it's
Yeah, you
only
can't
going
get
to be
it.
open. It's only going to be open to like probably some Silicon Valley people, and that's about it. But when it is able and was able, you tell it what you want it to do, you give it the driver's seat, it will go and start coding what you're asking it to build. Where it gets crazy is when it runs into an error, it then researches that error by going out onto the web or into other resources, seeing how to fix it, attempting to fix it. If that doesn't fix it, that's where the iterations come in, attempting again and again until it fixes it. So it's learning on what it needs to do and using its resources. You're not instructing it. It runs its own test of the code to make sure what you asked it to build is built and works. And when it doesn't work, it goes, oh, it's not done. I need to go figure out why. Instead of when you regularly code with somebody, you figure out it doesn't work, discuss it, tell the person, go back and figure it out. They go figure it out or then let you know what they figured out. Then they go fix it. And there's a whole bunch of back and forth in the project management of software. This robot is just like, he told me to get it done. I'm just going to get it done. I'll figure out how to get it done. I'll research what I need to research all on my own. And when I'm done with it, I'll shoot you back all the code and you'll have a finished product. And bro, when I saw that, I was like,
Crazy.
cha-ching. That's crazy. If that, I would love to know how complex of a software that could build, but I am sure it's only going to go. But on a side note, John, there are right now companies suing and settling and negotiating with OpenAI on allowing them to use their libraries of stuff, because right now AI is stealing. It is effectively stealing the intellect of people's books. Everything that you've ever written that's copyrighted and trademarked, they're just like, oh, I'm AI. I'll go read it all, learn it, and then use it to make it. And they can't stop it. So now companies are trying to negotiate for fees and all that to allow you access into this library and such. And I see the same with coders, because how does it learn? It's going into repositories in GitHub, which is where
GitHub repositories, yes.
GitHub is where coders store all of their code, like a library of their code for all their apps and development. And if it's stealing that to learn and getting better and then putting them out of business, I don't know.
It's interesting, the level of policing that will come to it. I saw another video of like Singapore is like so aware of like how massively crazy AI is going to disrupt the job force that they're paying for 40-plus-year-olds to go back to school to learn something that AI won't disrupt.
Well, what is that? Because I just saw a video. One, I watched a house get built with a robot at concrete blocks. I saw another one where a robot AI went into the bathroom, scanning the whole thing, cleans the toilet, cleans the entire bathroom. Watched another one where it's doing drywall and spackle. And I saw another one where it's painting, and I'm like, now, obviously, cost effectiveness, we're not there yet for it to be released.
Nowhere even close, but I mean, everything's going faster than I thought it was.
But where I kind of come to is although that could, so I was thinking like, can I use that for my software? And the answer I
No.
got to was yes. If it was released, yes, I
Oh.
could. But you still need to manage it. You still need to know what you're asking for. You still need to know what
yeah,
you
it's
need,
like
what you want. You still need somebody to manage it. Could I hire that instead of coders when it's fully released and working? Yes, I could. But I'm still going to need people to manage the AI. That somebody's got to give it the input of what to do and then make sure what it did is what you want. And then if not, although it can fix its mistakes, it's not thinking for you what your customer needs next. It's not seeing and getting customers' reaction. Well, now that I say it, like, I guess that could happen too, but like, we're not there yet. So I do see a place where people need to manage those things. It's the same thing when transportation came around and different types of assembly lines and forklifts put a lot of people out of work, right? But then people just learned how to become forklift drivers. People learned how to use take work on the machine, build the machine. So although those jobs are going, there's still other jobs.
Agreed.
Yes. Let's talk about jobs that could be replaced with. So I've never seen a video like this. It sounds like you have seen videos like this. I've not seen AI in a robot before, to this extent. Can you show that? Is it showing that I'm sharing a screen?
I had to go out of. There we go.
What you got? Where's this one?
Hey, Figure One, what do you see right now?
I see a red apple on a plate in the center of the table, a drying rack with cups and a plate, and you standing nearby with your hand on the table.
Great, can I have something to eat?
Is that really its voice? That's
Sure
freaky.
thing.
This
So
is crazy how it analyzes it.
I haven't
Great.
seen a robot like this.
Can you explain why you did what you just did while you pick up this trash?
On it. So I gave you the apple because it's the only edible item I could provide you with from the table.
Great, so based on the scene right now, where do you think the dishes in front of you go next?
The dishes on the table, like that plate and cup, are likely to go into the drying rack next.
Great, can you put them there?
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy. This is different than a lot of the other robots I've seen because the robots I've seen don't necessarily have voices or faces. It's literally using whatever kind of technology, like some type of infrared scanning, some type of camera system. It's mapping it out, almost like a Roomba or Roomba vacuum, but only
more
much more
machine
high
learning.
tech. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then it knows where to clean in the bathroom, the toilets. Same thing with drywall and the block thing, making the blocks, and that's pretty freaky. Would I buy one? Listen, there was a time when I was younger where I would have signed up to buy one of those and put a chip in my head and become like a cyborg. Knowing what I know now about the government, I would not do that.
It's kind of creepy. It's deductive reasoning. Like that's the first time like seeing it in a robot form in a voice like that. You're like, that's a sentient piece of crap right there. Not piece of crap. You get what I'm
You
saying?
use filler words too, and one of the answers it goes, yeah, sure, I can do that." I try to make it sound more human.
That voice was very human. Like, it was creepy.
Mhm.
That's a scary thing, man. But I'm sure that's where the world's going. I was once told by somebody that if you want to become wealthy, you just find a way to help people become lazier.
There you go. There you go.
And it stands true in every single thing that we have, from your cell phone. Why do we have a camera in our phone? Because we're lazy. We don't want to carry around two things when we could carry around one thing. Amazon makes billions on the fact of laziness. I mean, everything is about humans being lazy, and robots are it. And we don't want to do our shit anymore. Let a robot do it.
Oh, I agree. I have to run now, so you guys are gonna have to take the show from here. But that was fun going through a couple of things. Maybe one of you can figure out how to share a screen if you have the other things to go through. But have a great weekend, everybody. I'll see you guys next week.
Likewise, man. Enjoy.
Lock and load. So what's going on with you, man? How's your HVAC stuff? You got any updates for us of people you're talking to? Fill me in on some details.
Not a ton. I'm mainly doing warm outreach to just real estate people that I know, and the conversations are mainly around. So HVAC is interesting because a lot of their leads, pretty much everybody I've talked to, a lot of their leads are just referrals. Like if we could think of real estate investors, kind of like if you're breaking down like their personality and how they get leads, a lot of people in our industry, a majority of them are paying for their marketing and stuff like that. Where it seems with HVAC folk, they're very much like shoot from the hip, referral base. They text you.
Your truck.
I heard that you could, yeah, exactly, your truck. So I've actually been doing walking for dollars too. Just around my neighborhood, when I see trucks, I'll take a picture, and then when I get back, put it in IF3, give them a call. Haven't had success with walking, but if I get a demo booked from walking for dollars, that would fire me up.
You want to call I don't know if they'd give it to you over the phone, but you can go down to one of the supply houses.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
And that's where, so like you could also go to Home Depot. They'll be there to pick up little parts, but most of the time they're ordering their stuff from the factory, from like a supply house somewhere locally. So whether they're getting like a Goodman or something like that, like it just depends on where they're ordering it from, and that guy knows everybody because everyone's ordering from the same place.
That's not a bad idea at all. But yeah, besides that, pretty normal standard week here. Pumped to have launch control on next week, and then the following week we'll have to move shows around for Family Mastermind. That's always a good
Family Mastermind.
Hear good people.
Where's that one
going to be? You in person.
It's
always in Tampa. Always Tampa.
Always in Tampa.
Same hotel. It's been the same hotel there the last 5 or 6 years, every single time. So I'll be hanging in Tampa. Maybe we can stop by, get a stogie or something.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm down to smoke a cigar.
Love that.
I told you I found a cigar shop up in Little Rock.
Did you mention that?
So I was up in Little Rock and I was trying to find this place to smoke a cigar, and I walk up and it's like all glass windows and doors, right? But it's kind of dark, so you couldn't really see in. And I go up and it's like 5 o'clock or whatever. And by dark, I mean like the lighting and everything, right? And the building was dark. But anyway, I'm walking up and I'm trying to find the door. And like I check the hours and it's open. And like I get up to the window and like the glass and I see someone sitting in there. I see like 2 dudes smoking a cigar. And I go to pull the door and the door doesn't fucking open. So now I look like I'm that dude who can't, like, they're locked. Maybe it's a private club and I don't freaking know it and you need a passcode. So then I'm walking around the building and I'm sure people are watching me do this and I'm trying to find an entrance and I'm walking up the sidewalk and I'm looking in. I go back to the door, make an ass out of myself a second time by trying to open it, and I can't open it. No one comes to help me. They're just looking at me. And so then I call. And I walk back to my car pretending like I'm not really trying to go in. And I call. And I'm like, hey, you guys open? And the guy starts busting out laughing. And I'm like, are you? And he goes, wondering why you want to know. And I'm like, because I tried to come inside and the door's locked. And he goes, it's not locked. You just have to pull on it. So
oh my God.
I walk up to the fucking door and I just pull on it and fucking opens.
Love that.
Embarrassing walking into that place. They all watched me.
Yep, this is me. I just called you from my car.
That's me. That has been at this door pacing this entire building. Can't figure out how to come in. All I had to do was tug on the door. But it's a nice cigar lounge. Like, I actually like it. Cigar lounges are they're a mixture of either just a place to smoke a cigar with a TV and that's it, or they have like a liquor license. I don't drink, but generally if there's a liquor license, it's more of a networking place. So like the ones without the liquor license, it's usually just a bunch of old dudes. There's not a lot of stuff going on. It's just you go in there. There's no reason to hang out. Maybe they have a TV, maybe they have a couch. But when they have a liquor license, it's more of a cigar lounge type of thing, not just a cigar shop or cigar club. It's more of a lounge, and that's what this one was. You go in, and you could pay for membership. And I asked, and it's like $25 a month. It's not crazy membership. So you could go in there whenever you want. I just went in there for the day and paid the guest daily pass or whatever it was, just to sit there and hang out and work and smoke a cigar. But I thought to myself as I watched people come in, and a couple people at a business meeting, chit chatting. Other people were just there on their phones, working computers, smoking cigars, and I was like, this is not a bad. One, it's not a main business. I'm sure they don't rake in money, but I was like, man, that's not a bad type of business to run for networking. Like if you have a building, you open up a cigar shop, it's a business that cash flows maybe a little bit, maybe it breaks even, but it would be a phenomenal business meeting place and lounge. And the type of people that were there, they were all business people. They were all, you could tell, they were all handling something, they were doing something. And I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting. Like your own little like networking incubator.
But and you're not going there to get wasted either, right? Like it's not a bar where you're going and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go drink and get shit faced with my friends. It's a club, so you go in, you want to smoke a cigar, and the drink is an ancillary item as a consequence of being there to smoke your cigar type thing. And then of course it's all leather. They have like the jazz music playing, and you can sit there, you can do whatever. They got magazines, books, whatever it is. And I thought that was pretty cool idea.
That is cool. I love that there's been it seems like more people are going no alcohol wave. Like they're just realizing it's like kind of poison. I'm sure I enjoy the camaraderie of like going out, but I've thoroughly enjoyed not drinking this year. It's been pretty awesome. The cigar lounge. So I used to go with my friend who also moved down here in Baltimore. This place called the Lollipop Club. For anybody that's in Baltimore knows that one in Harbor East.
Is that a strip club?
No, it's it's
got a strip club name, bro.
It does. They gave it a strip club name. You literally have to do. It's in the back of it's an upscale restaurant that you have to go in like all the way to the back of the restaurant, and then you have to thumbprint your scan your fingerprints to get into an elevator. It's a high ticket annual membership to get in there, and they give you your own cigar locker, which is a locker.
That's what I want,
dude. So baller. This is a very very baller place. They also check your phones. You're not allowed to take any. You have to check your phone like at the thing too, because they don't want anybody taking pictures, videos, posting from there. So super cool. They have shuffleboard, or the thing that you throw, pool table. They do a high stakes poker game as well, just like randomly in the back. And some of my friends down here are like big into poker too, so they used to play in those games. So that is like a good place for networking. There's like politicians that just pop in there on like a Friday night. Have met some interesting people in Baltimore there, which is pretty cool. So I've seen that part in Baltimore, the very like high end, like I think like an annual membership is probably 10 grand or something like that. And then here going to a cigar shop in Little Havana, that is like, I love, that's where I get cigars from now. And literally you go in there, it's 10 people that don't speak English, just hand rolling cigars.
Yeah, that's pretty
cool. I love that. And it's like good sticks.
Yeah. There's one in Tampa. I forget the name of it, but they'd go to the masterminds down in Tampa and always wind up at the cigar lounge down there. It's Davidoff or something. But anyway, phenomenal. But it's whiskey bar, liquor license, less lounge and less comfy tufted leather lounge and more modern seating, drinking and smoking cigar type thing. You know what I mean? More of a modern lounge. Personally, my vibe, if I'm smoking a cigar, like I want it to be dark. I want it to be tufted leather. I want it to be like I'm sitting in like an old fucking castle wood paneled room. Like that would be my idea. And I was thinking, because like where I'm at, we don't have anything like that. We have two of them. One's like a franchise place in a plaza, so you walk in, and yeah, they have some seating and TVs. And I went there with a friend one time, sat down, but it's just, it's like a retail store with cigar and some couches and stuff. And then there's another one where it's just like old dudes and a TV, and you always go in there and they're watching some weird movie. I'm like, it's like I don't know. What is this from 1989? Like what's happening in here? And that's it, and there's a cigar place downtown. But man, it'd be cool to have a club style one where you go and you just for networking and you could go and hang out in different games and stuff. And I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Not a bar. Like I'm not talking about the bar atmosphere. I'm talking about like a lounge and like, you don't want it to get rowdy. You want it to be more of a networking vibe.
Ryan Pineda, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. Ryan Pineda does a really good job in his content. He posts like golfing, like he loves golf. Like he even brings his family out there like on Sundays, like the little kids and wife and stuff. But then also for networking, he just has people golf with him. So it's interesting when you're able to overlap like what you're interested in, what you enjoy doing. You're kind of just knocking out a bunch of things, like killing a bunch of birds with one stone, like networking and things like that. And it's also like just thinking about where people hang out. Like if you're going into it with an intention, you know.
100%. It's like, you know, when you want to meet somebody, there's only a couple places to kind of go, and you're like, oh, let me go to a restaurant, let me go to a bar. It's pretty much it, right? Or you're going to do an activity like a golfing. But the cigar lounge, I think, is a perfect medium because it's, you know, you can have a drink if you're a drinker, you can have a water, but you smoke a cigar. But even if you don't, you just sit there and talk in an atmosphere that is built for that. I think that'd be pretty cool. In fact, my ideal, talking about this, like my ideal scenario would be to have like a 3 or 4 story building where I own the whole building, and my offices would be on like the top floor or 2, and then the other 2 floors, one would be a restaurant and the other would be a cigar lounge. So that way I didn't have to go anywhere. I could work, order my food, like, and I, you know, I have an interest or I own it all. Like that would be ideal.
That would be baller. I guess since I think I'm correct here on week, but I think this past weekend was the UFC in Miami too.
Yeah,
so thinking of something like that. Yeah, he was. I didn't go. I picked up my friends. They were at Fountain Blue. That's what made me think of that, because they have like nice hotels like that. It's like beach, pool, club, party area, restaurants, all different types of stuff there. But I picked them up, ended up dropping them off. That's the same idea with your building.
I mean, I've had that idea since I was like 17, 16 years old, when I used to go visit like Harrisburg in Pennsylvania, and I'd see those buildings and I'd be like, that'd be really cool if I ever turned one of those into that. But yeah, and Trump going to the UFC fights, dude, like name a president who does that. And it's like when he does, everybody cheers like it's just crazy. His level of fame as a president is getting to be pretty cultish. It's wild.
Now, other interesting sports news was it was rumored, or at least reported, that Aaron Rodgers, the Jets quarterback,
I saw that, dude.
Packers quarterback, was to be on the short list of.
Do you really think that's true?
Yeah, definitely.
Did you say Robert Downey Jr.?
No, did I cut out?
I thought you. Yeah, I think you did.
Robert Kennedy Jr.
I know what you meant, but then I was like, bro, I didn't know Robert Downey. I didn't know Iron Man was.
I would put Iron Man in his president, or at least like Secretary of Defense or military or something for sure.
Yeah, but that would be interesting. I don't know. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, obviously, if you ever listen to him, he has a level of rational logic and like some intelligence, but like, is he built? Like, I'm not built for politics, bro. You got to be built for that game.
No, not at all. I do appreciate, and that's why people liked, I think that's why some people liked Trump, just somebody that's different than politics. That would obviously be different. Getting whatever Aaron Rodgers is, 39, 40-year-old quarterback, open-minded, thinking quarterback in there. You know, that's kind of the appeal. But I think it was a move from RFK to just drum up some more interest, just because I think anybody that's running as independent has to do creative things just to even get their name out there.
Well, he's trying to get his name on the ballots right now. Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. I mean, he should automatically be on the ballots, in my opinion. I definitely think he should probably be running for his own party. Biden shouldn't. But, you know, obviously there's politics in play there. But either way, you know, it should be a fair fight, man. It should be a fair fight. And that's what we think our elections are supposed to be. But obviously, I think we know that's not what's happening. I saw a meme. The other day, and it was like the border wall. And then there was a bunch of like the mailboxes with the sign on there, drop your ballots in here, and they were running up and down the border wall. And I was like, yeah, bro, like that's basically it, man. We're shipping migrants in. Like, who knows what's going to happen with the mail-in voting, and drop your ballots in. You don't have to vote in person. Like, we're just upping a lot of voters for my man, Biden. He's just winging it, bro. He's getting there.
He's getting a lot of votes. Yeah, it's interesting on a weekly show just seeing the pulse of everything going. Crypto down a little bit this week. Yeah, politics are always interesting, and we always bring it back to real estate, like how it affects. It's just it's interesting how everything is interconnected, but it would kind of seem like crypto is now pretty loosely. What's the term where it goes hand in hand with it, with like the stock market?
It's correlated to it.
Correlated.
For sure. I mean, Bitcoin was up. My crypto. I didn't even look at my crypto account until like the other week whenever we started talking about it, and I was like, holy shit! Like it's like tripled, quadrupled. I was like, wow. I mean, I'm still down, way down. Obviously, my Bitcoin position is way up, but all my altcoins are still like I'd have to double again in order for me to be back to where I was before the crash. But either way, it's encouraging to see that. It's going to add to people's net worth. It's going to add to their financial reports, their balance sheets. But in the end, I wanted to tie this back to something. So outside of the crypto thing, but like the pulse of the week, as I sit here and I have my Bloomberg and I watch them, this effing audacity, was it yesterday or the day before, to tell me that prices are down. And they're like, oh, and of course it's this type of news outlet, and they're like, the current government, however they worded it, the current administration is doing such a great job. Jobs are higher than they've ever been. Prices are going down month over month. And I want to say this, and it's like, it's not. Anyone who says that is a lie. And as a landlord, like we're finding it, like Brittany's on the phone every day with people applying, and it's harder and harder for people to afford rent. People are not making as much as they should be making. On top of that, like we've had multiple people tell us they have to decide between rent and food because food prices have gone up so high. And as an example, so Brittany and I, prior to our kids together, when it was just me and her on our nights, we would have this, it was like frozen fish. We'd buy this frozen fish at the store and make a meal. That fish, that pack of fish that we bought, was like roughly, I'm making this up, $5.79. It was like $6, right? It was just around $6. I went to the store to buy it for her, right? Well, it's 11 effing dollars. So this is a 4-year time span. That is almost a 25% year-over-year increase in the cost of food. And that is one of many examples I have because I now do the shopping in our house. It's just part of my weekend routine. I go with the kids and we go and do it. And so now I'm watching and I'm remembering what things were. And I'm watching prices, like a little like data center in my mind, watching these prices. That's how you know you're 40, is when you're watching prices of groceries and then calculating the per ounce amount. And I'm watching this and I'm like, who can afford that? This administration thinks that that's good. And then when I'm looking at trying to raise rents, and it's not just my rent that I have to consider. I have to consider what the tenants else are paying. They got to pay for food. They got to pay utilities, electric. They got to pay all that stuff. And it's like, so if you're tacking on $900 rent, and you got a family of like 3 kids, and so you're spending maybe $1,200, $1,300 on top of that on food, because what used to be like $600, $700 is now $1,400 for food.
It's huge. It's getting huge increase.
Huge increase. You're now over $2,000 and some dollars just on rent, food. We haven't even gotten into the cell phone bill. We haven't gotten into the fucking utility bills yet that you have to pay for to exist and live. The average car payment is over $500. It's like the car insurance has gone up. Everything continues to go up. And yeah, so I questioned, and I saw this report about rents declining in a lot of markets too. And I know we've had to do rent reductions on a couple of our units as well. And it's not that we don't have interested people. It really comes down to the qualification of their income and then what people can afford on top of that. Like that's the comments we're getting. It's not just that they don't want a nice place to live. Food and gas and everything has gone up so much they can't make it anymore.
That's an interesting variable to be affecting the real estate market. Like there's not enough demand of qualified buyers at a certain price.
Yeah. It's like tenants, qualified tenants, right? Like that's the way I'm looking at it, as on a tenant basis. And it's like, but to have the news outlet try to sell us on how great the economy is. I saw a video. What was it? I was telling my daughter, because we were talking, she had to fix her car, and we were talking about like how she could afford to fix her car because I make her pay for it on her own. And we were talking about how many hours she has to work and blah, 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 blah. And she's going away next year. And I showed her this video we were talking about of this girl crying. She's out on her own. It's the first month she can't afford rent. The landlord raised her rent from $1,300 to $1,800, right?
Damn.
So obviously probably a new owner situation, trying to get up to market. Regardless, she says over the past however many months or whatever it is, she has started to eat less because she can't afford food anymore. This was before the rent increase. She said, I already started to eat less because I can't afford food. I stopped buying snacks or anything that I don't need. She's like, on top of that, it's my car payment. It's the utilities, all this stuff. And this is the first month of my life I've never been able to make my rent because all the other costs add up and eat that away, because those things happen throughout the month where rent's one time of the month. So by the time one of your tenants who's working a service industry or something gets to the end of the month, they've already paid, because they're all paying late. They've already paid their light bill. They've already went grocery shopping 2 to 3 times. They've already filled up their gas tank. They paid their cell phone, right? And now it's your turn to get your little piece as a landlord. And sometimes there's nothing left. And I've seen more and more people talking about it. I saw that girl crying about it. We've encountered it. And I blame it not on the landlords, but it's on the general economy. How do you explain a fucking frozen fish quadrupling in price over that time period? 25% year over year increase in food. How do you explain that?
That's crazy. How do you anticipate things moving forward? Like, are you anticipating things getting more rough? I'm on the other screen right now trying to pull up just a house that I love in South Florida that's north of Miami. I'm going to see if I can find it and pull it up, but it's been on the market for over 100 days. And for me, when I see something, I'm a little biased, but you're a South Florida guy, born in South Florida. But when I see something like really, really nice that's just sitting on the market 100 days, obviously there could be something like glaring wrong with it, but also I'm like, how much is it the problem that you just described, where it's pretty much like a lack of qualified buyers at a certain price range. Like, I think the inventory of just buyers aren't there.
Well, so we just had a house, so it's the same thing. I've spoke on this podcast many times about just areas in my town, and the area for the wealthy people. Like, a house came on at 1.6 million. Totally outdated. One of the best locations there. It was off market in 2 days. Needs a full gut reno, if not torn down. 1.6 mil. Couple days gone. I think what's happening is there's the gap between the haves and the have-nots is getting wider and wider and wider, to a point to where you are priced out of everything if you are not making over $300,000 a year. I think the gap to become comfortable has now gone up so high. You have to make over 300K, in my opinion. Oh wow,
that's a good.
Yeah, that's in Southwest Ranches, bro. That's you
the Rock lives in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
Well, there are houses here like $1 million, which, like, compared to Miami, like, isn't that bad. So, like, in Miami area, you get a lot more.
No, I know.
Kind of like loosely.
Southwest Ranches it's a bit of a drive. You have to be a certain type of person who wants to live out there. You have some wet areas, and you get some land, so it's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, but I kind of like if I'm in the Papa P phase of my life, like wife and kids, I kind of like still being in Miami. I can shoot to a Heat game if I want to on a weekday, or just do whatever.
Southwest Ranches would be ideal. Yeah,
but look at this. You get so much land, just some nice little water here.
Fucking gators right in there, like this.
Really?
I have no idea. I'm just saying everything has any body of water has. If you want to know if there's gators in it, it's got gators.
Little screen.
That's not my style of house, though, man. Like, if I'm living in Miami, bro, I'm living in something modern.
Yeah.
I'm not living in I'd find that house up here in Lakeland.
Yeah. See this?
But I get what you're saying.
I guess what drew me to this house was solid price point, but also I like just like the bodies of water and then the land around it.
Yeah, I mean, 1.8, you're paying that for a fucking condo out in Miami.
Exactly.
2-bedroom condo. Yeah, I got you.
Exactly. So that's what drew me to it. And this is very early on. I'm just like, I just started doing some saved filters, just like looking to see it stuff like in this area, kind of like Davie, Southwest Ranch, just seeing stuff tucked in. The reason why I'm bringing this up on a screen share is 125 days on Zillow. For me, when I see stuff in
in South Miami or South Florida, excuse me, I'm like, how does stuff sit anywhere even close to this?
Well, so I think what's happening, man, so if you take a look at what that girl said, like what I was saying, and I think it holds true in real estate, and my statement about the widening gaps between the haves and the have-nots, the wealthy and the lower class, I don't think we really have a middle class anymore. I think the middle class is slowly becoming the lower class. But anyway, she's like, I have given up doing this and this and this, and I'm eating less and less. I think what people are doing, and I think houses are still moving, and because people are still buying, but now what you can afford and what you get, you're settling for less and less. Whereas instead of saying, man, my budget's $350K, you're now only getting a 1,200 square foot house maybe, and maybe you need 1,500 or 1,600 square feet of a house, or 1,800, but you're giving that up now, and you're settling for this smaller house because, again, you're just getting priced out of what you need and what you want, and you're settling for it, just like you settle for food. And you're like, man, I can't even afford organic. I could still eat. I'm still going to go buy food, but I'll eat less and I'll eat shittier because that's all I can afford, because those prices have come up to where the organic stuff used to be. And that's what's happening in houses, as a way to try to kind of carry the analogy across, is it's like people are saying, man, I really need a 4-bedroom, but we need a place, but I guess my kids will just bunk together and I'll buy this one. And then when we make more money or prices come down, we'll get something different down the road.
Yeah.
And it's just, and I think that is what they're selling us on, is we're settling our way out of a middle class and into a low, poor income class. It's just not cutting it, man.
Yeah, and it's good for people, especially investors listening to the show. Like, I think it's always good to have a working thesis of what you think the market's doing, and kind of what Brandon's been outlining the last few minutes. Like, just being able to articulate what you think is going on with the market, and then being able to relay that to whoever you're serving in the space, whether it's your sellers negotiations, like you and your team being able to talk to sellers and saying what's going on. Like, hey, this is the situation. Like, look at the economy. Like, people aren't able to move. Like, I can't lock up your house or do a deal with you at this price. Like, houses aren't selling. Like, there's low demand of.
I agree with you, but the problem
is
it's the news. They're still.
Oh, I mean,
lying,
that's always
dude.
a problem. That's
I know, but
massive problem.
People listen to it though, and it's like they show these numbers, and I'm like, the thing with statistics is you can manipulate anything if you get the right sample of a population. It's like, I don't know, man. I am skeptical of I've always been skeptical of the real estate. Things don't add up to me, as they say nowadays. The math ain't mathing. I don't understand how long people could keep it up. I saw another report that, we did it 2 years ago. We talked about credit cards, but credit cards are at their all-time high. Credit card companies like American Express and them, they're now going after their debtors who aren't paying and taking them to court on a more prevalent, like a faster and on a larger basis. Debts that are years old, they're now coming through and collecting, because American Express apparently, and I think it's another one, MasterCard or Discovery, they don't sell off their debts. They hold them on their balance sheet, and then they'll go after you. And it looks like they're looking for some money right now because the economy is getting bad. People aren't paying, and now they're going after those types of people and trying to collect on it. And it's like, okay, so you got people defaulting on credit cards, companies now suing them for even the smallest of balances they're not paying. That doesn't speak volumes for the economy. So I don't know who I'd be voting for. I know who I'd be voting for, but I don't know if you would want to keep that up. Yeah. I think RFK would probably be pretty good I just don't agree with him on a lot of his policies of like what he stands for, but I think he's a pretty good dude. I think he tries to do what's right. I dig Trump. I think he just has a give a F attitude, and he's just going to blast everyone out of the water to get what he wants and do what he thinks is right. And I kind of like that as well. I just think Biden keeps he wants to give $400 more a month to Americans. Like, where is this effing money coming from, bro? Do people not understand what that does? Last time we got $600 a month, this is the result.
Will be interesting times, man. We're in very, very interesting times. One of the times, like 50 years from now, they look back on this AI and everything. It'll be interesting times.
And then the cattle ranch that caught fire?
I didn't hear about that. Did we
Texas?
send that through?
No, I didn't. It was one of the largest producers of cattle. Like that area was is known. It produces the most cattle in the state of Texas and one of the largest in the country. It was like, I'm gonna F these numbers up, but 300,000 acres or something like that of land just burned, cows dead, cows running off their farms, trying to escape the fire, just decimated. We don't find that a little bit iffy. We don't question that at all. We don't think beef prices are going up as a result of that now.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. Interesting things at play, especially with high net worth, or just, how do you describe that? Like the ultra elite people.
You just can't shop at Publix, bro. Publix overprices everything.
Do they?
Yeah. You got an Aldi?
I think there's one around here. I don't know off the
Bro.
top of my head. I think there's Aldi's around here.
I go to Publix. And I'm telling you, I'm 40, so I'm going to share some old man knowledge with you.
Lay it on me.
I go to Publix, and you're spending about $10 for organic grass-fed beef, because I know you dig the grass-fed and you love the organic shit just like we do here. And to get the chicken, I can never find like
pasture-raised chicken is
chicken.
hard to find.
It's impossible at Pubby's, right? Anyway, long story short, you're paying like $8.80, maybe between $8 and $9 a pound of like a chicken breast, like a boneless chicken breast, ready to go, right? Bro, I went to Aldi's, 50% off. Everything is half the price. I remember the first time I went with Brittany, right? We took a little trip, brought the kids, and I'm out there pushing the cart, and I looked, and I'm like, does that say $5? And there's like $5.70 for a pound of 93.7 organic grass-fed ground beef. Bro, I bought like 15 of them. I was just like,
funny.
She's like, why do you need all those? I was like, I'll eat one a day. I don't care. This is 50. It's like I'm only buying 7 of them instead of 14. I'm buying 7. I'm saving 50% money. You know how we'd be broke if we were buying this at Publix, and it's the same thing with the chicken. Chicken, not as much. I think it was like $5-6 a pound or something for the boneless organic chicken or whatever you call it. And I was just shocked. And I said to myself, it's not about the saving of money that I'm bringing this up. I go, well, if they can sell it at this price, why isn't Publix selling it at this price?
Makes you think. I just looked up. There's Aldi's all around me. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Bro, so we go there primarily for the meat, the cheese. Also, cheese is like almost 40% of what it costs at Publix for a grass-fed, organic, like Irish, whatever, we get like the Kerrygold cheese or whatever it is. That's like $3 versus the $5.50 or whatever it is for the pack at same weight at Publix. I mean, everything's 50%. We go there for that and veggies and fruits. Everything else you got to go back to Publix because Aldi's doesn't have a big selection of everything. But
interesting. Well, I've been to one of those in North Carolina. My family hits Aldi's sometimes.
But I mean, I know you eat healthy, and like I know you enjoy meat, right? So it's like, and I was picking up the same thing with the steaks. I bought like 6 steaks that day because they were like 40% cheaper for grass-fed ribeyes and strips. And we ate steak 2 days in a row, and I was like, bro,
you feel so good eating steak. Just has every single
100%. But it's just tough when you have a big family and you're like, man, okay, like we're already spending $1,500-$1,600 a month on groceries. And then you want to add on like a $15, $17, $18 steak, which is like typically what they are at Publix. To get like a pound of a steak, you're spending like $17, $18. Whereas at there, I was spending like $6, $7. I was spending like $7 or $8. And it's like, that's pretty, you buy 4 steaks for a family or 5 steaks for your family. And you're like, right, you're easily dropping you're dropping a hundo, you're dropping a couple bennies on that, and it's like, but there you're only dropping you're only dropping.
You're like leaving them a tip. You're like, man, it was this cheap here. Let me give you a $20 bill just for making it so cheap. I just started I got my first batch of, because I like to split test like meal prep and stuff like that. And again, I'm probably like, it's probably easier to do like leftovers when you're just a single guy versus like cooking for wife and kids and stuff. But company Just Meats, justmeats.com for anybody
I've
that's
seen that
listening.
on my Instagram.
Very, very, very solid. If you think about a couple things, if you think about the price that they offer versus what you buy it, it's not that much more than if you were to buy it like a Publix price, like $10 for 1 pound of pre-made chicken. But also for anybody that does like macros and like weighs out their meals and stuff, they put over a pound in there. When you cook chicken, you lose 25% of it from water weight. So like it's actually like a pound and a quarter probably that you're getting for that price. So it's almost like the same exact price. Chicken has the most like water. Like when you cook it, it weighs down the lowest.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So chicken, like if you weigh it raw, like 16 ounces or a pound, ends up being like 12 ounces once you cook it.
See, I usually weigh, so like this is all new to me. What I've been doing for like the last month or maybe two is like the meal prep where like on the weekend. So like we'll go to the store and I'll just buy a shit ton of meat and then I'll cook it all pretty much on Sunday or Monday or whatever day it is. And then, I'll weigh it out, or I just know by the size of the chicken. When you do it so much, you're like, that's probably, that's about a pound.
You can get it in a range.
Yeah, and because I'm not definitely counting my calories or macros or anything, but I am trying to get a certain amount of protein. And so, it all matters to me, man. And personally, I made the mistake when I was younger and not caring how I spent my money when I made a bunch of money. And now I think regardless how much money I make, I think it's very important that you're paying attention to those things. I don't know, because I think it says a lot about what you do in the rest of your life. And I know when I was like that when I was younger, I didn't care what I was spending or how much I was spending on anything that I was doing, whether it was business, software, a product, whatever it was. I'm just, you got money and you're just willy-nilly. And that was probably my young, stupid 20-year-old self. But now it's different. Every service, every business thing I'm looking at value now, not just what do I get, but what value do I get? And it's the same thing with grocery shopping. So I think probably why I enjoy it so much. And I'm there and I'm like, checking the ounces.
Well, I appreciate too because it's like a compound thing. Like you just know you're going to do something. You're going to do it so much, like every single week. That it's
100%.
It's interesting. And
bone
Tom
broth
Cole had a good. Love me some bone broth.
$3.90 for organic bone broth at fucking
at Aldi's, dude. You're gonna have me go. You're gonna have me
the
go.
The Kettle and Fire is
$11
$11 at Publix for the Kettle and Fire bone broth.
Crazy, man. I'm gonna hit up Aldi's. Give you a little.
You're gonna go right now. You're
yeah. If I didn't have meetings,
you should
shoot up there.
You should, dude. You should go down there.
Hey, I'm at Aldi's. How could I? You looking for a CRM?
Yeah, bro. You're gonna save so much money on meat. Like it's gonna be unbelievable. Thank me later, dude. Just bring a quarter. You need a quarter.
What do you mean a quarter?
So the thing about Aldi's is they have low employees, so you check yourself out in the carts. In order to get a cart, you have to slide. It's like at the airport. You slide a quarter in to get your cart, and then when you put your cart back, you take your quarter back. My son will go and scan all the stuff for quarters. He'll usually make like 50 cents a trip just by looking for quarters people they want to go get, and they just leave it in there.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Bring your quarter with you, bro, and go to Aldi's. Buy yourself some grass-fed steaks. I'm telling you, you're gonna eat like a king now. You're gonna be like, holy shit, I'm saving like half. I'm eating more meat and saving money.
Dreamhouse crib, that Southwest Ranches crib. I'd have a big old freezer just for all like steaks.
That's what
and ideally you get the entire cow.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You become friends with the farmer. That's exactly how you do it.
Yeah. There's a lot down towards South Florida. There's a couple farms, and then up in like north, towards the coast, like northern Florida, that do that. And I've been looking at them online, and like I want that. We need a deep freeze. It's part of my plan is to just get a deep freeze, find a spot for it, and then just buy a half a cow. And like if I could find one closer to me, so I could do eggs and milk too, like that'd be even more ideal.
Yeah, the farmers market I go to is in Southwest Ranches. They have crazy. Yeah, they have some. It's going to be expensive. I don't go there all the time, but like when I shoot up there, because like
I feel like I don't feel like they're cheaper. And then when I go to ours, I feel like the vegetables, they still like the lettuce still says Foxy on it and stuff. And I'm like, did you grow this or did this fall off the back of a Publix truck and you're just selling it? Because this doesn't feel like grown in Plant City. Like this.
That's what Trader Joe's. I saw kind of disturbing unraveling article on Trader Joe's that a lot of their stuff is just other brands that they just like rebrand. That's why
Yeah.
Trader Joe's is like so cheap.
Bro, I was highly disappointed in Trader Joe's when I was in Little Rock. My hotel is across from a Whole Foods and a Trader Joe's, and I was like, I'm gonna give Trader Joe's a go this time. I went in there and I was like, this is a letdown. This is not what I thought Trader Joe's was gonna be. I went to Whole Foods instead.
It's cheaper than Whole Foods. That's kind of my routine though. Like just because I live kind of on my path of this is like a very walking friendly neighborhood. So I like to go to the gym or yoga, stuff like that, and then just walk back and get more of like essential type stuff like lemons to put in water, cook fish with, and avocados and fruit and stuff like that. So I usually pop in there a couple times a week, just strolling through the neighborhood.
Yeah. I mean, it's the we got on this grocery thing, but it's shopping for food has become such a thing. I do think it's going to become more localized.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Same thing with media, where it's like I think people are starting to wake up too, and they just don't trust every single thing the media says. That's why social media is getting so popular. It's all
which is why they're trying to ban TikTok.
Yeah,
That's
that would
crock
be
of
crazy,
shit, dude.
That would be crazy.
They say it's for, so my thing is they say it's for like privacy and like they're protecting us, but they don't, with everything else with China. Trump was actually trying to stop China from sending all their shit in. They have so many deals with China. That balloon, they weren't worried about that balloon that was flying over, which we all know wasn't a Chinese balloon, but they were like, it's a Chinese balloon. And then it's like, but they're worried about TikTok. They weren't shooting that thing down, but they're worried about freaking TikTok. No, and think about this, like the damage it'll do to small business, they don't care. You know how many people make so much money on TikTok selling goods, getting content creator revenue? They use that as their fan base to shift people into YouTube and Instagram. Like they to shut TikTok down would be, dude, I think that would be detrimental to our younger generation.
Yeah.
I agree that like social media is detrimental to your dopamine and like it just mental health in a lot of ways. But for the people that are using it to generate money and like influence, dude, I don't see how they could cancel it. I think that would, I think it would, I think if we were talking about the economy crumbling, like that would be a huge piece of it. So many people rely on creation of content and selling of goods online for their income. I mean, I don't even know how OnlyFans models are going to make a living anymore.
A lot of people moving out of Miami if that happens.
Yeah. There'd be a lot more people in the homeless shelter.
Oh, that's funny. Well, this is a good episode, guys. We'll be pumped to jam next week with Launch Control. I'm gonna have Papa P going at him, talking outbound and how effective of a strategy that will be moving forward. Papa P, have a great weekend, my man. Hope we can light up a stogie here in a weekend.
Let me know. Let me know, bro.
Sure.
All right, man.
Awesome. Well, take it easy, guys.
Oh, we're not. I thought we were off. Lock and load, dude.